are. Hey, and welcome back to my channel. I have not posted a video in well over, I think 2 months probably. And that is because life has gotten crazy. It is the holidays. And honestly, I tried over the past 2 months to dwindle down my plant collection, like significantly. And I did a pretty good job at it, honestly. But I still have hundreds of plants, unfortunately. Probably not hundreds of plants actually anymore. If I were to guess, I'd probably have 70 plants now. I sold them, gave them away, and unfortunately, I just tossed some of them. And so I also have broken my mic, which led me to taking a hiatus because, you know, filming on your phone just without a mic is not awesome quality. But this needs to happen, and so I was like, I'll film this because it's worth it, and a lot of people like it actually. So we're going to be talking about one of my most viewed videos or shorts on my channel, and one of my most searched, commented on, asked questions about plant, honestly, that I have. And that is my Calathea Orbifolia and my self-watering DIY planter that I made. So I posted this short about a year ago, if not over a year ago, and it got significant reach and likes. And so that was awesome. I think why is because people like this plant, but it is impossible to keep alive in my care and outside of this self-watering planter. And so when I did this, it has been a year growing in this self-watering planter, and honestly I feel like it's been 2 years now. I think a year ago I did an update on it, but I think I originally posted this 2 years ago. We'll check on that. But when I did it, again, a lot of people commented, asked questions about it because it is a beautiful plant, but Calathea are notorious for being difficult to care for. And so today I'm just going to reshare my tips and tricks with this guy and how I have kept it alive for, I'm pretty sure, 2 years. So if you are new here, this is a channel where I talk about houseplants and do DIYs. So if that interests you, make sure to subscribe so you can see more videos like this one. Okay. This planter, I made this planter from a $12 vase that I found at Home Goods, mimicking a self-watering planter that I actually found at Urban Outfitters online. When I found it, it was sold out and it was $70. This was $12, and then this was just a pot from Hobby Lobby, so like $1.99. And if you wait till they're 40% off, you know, you get 40% off. But it's actually worked really well in caring for this plant, because if you do not know, again, Calathea are very difficult, finicky plants, and they need to be watered pretty much constantly. So self-watering planters are a great way to keep your Calathea alive and happy. Now, this does not look like the happiest Calathea right now, and unfortunately I have just waited too long to repot it, and so that's what's really pushing me to do this video, because I need to repot this, make it happy again. But it has actually done really well in this. I have not had any issues with it. It is constantly growing. It is much larger than when I first purchased it. And honestly, it hasn't lost any leaves. Well, like from this whole like stressed out situation. The old leaves have died off, as plants do as they grow. But I haven't just like lost a leaf here or there for any random reason of not caring for it properly until again now, because it is in definite need of a repot. It needs a bigger pot. It is not happy, and it's telling me about it. By all of this browning, it's not staying consistently moist like it wants to, and so we are going to be repotting it into a bigger pot. This I will maybe put another plant into it. I'm not really sure. But I keep this actually on the center of our dining table in a, I'm going to say from a east facing window. Maybe it's an east facing window. I'll clarify again here. Pretty sure it's an east-facing window, sits in the middle of our table, and it does particularly well. These guys don't like a high amount of light, so if you do have it under a high light, it will start to burn its leaves. I know that from personal experience because I did that when I first got this plant. This is my third time owning it. I've loved this plant, and I've just been trying it in different areas. So I tried it under the high light. Some Calathea tenanthe, specifically in Maranta, can take the higher light. This guy immediately burned. So I pulled it back, and for a really long time, it sat on the top of our fridge under a 5-watt Sansi grow light, like one of the clip-on lights, and it was actually clipped on to another plant, I think it was, my Jose Bono. It was clipped onto that plant, and so this got indirect light. So these are shade plants. They grow under the big canopies, so they do not like or need a high light source by any means. I, again, just keep it 6 feet back from an east-facing window, and it seems to be doing really well. It has pushed out a ton of new growth, and it actually just pushed out this new leaf right here, just unfurled. And look how beautiful it looks. And so again, the plant is growing and it's doing really well. It's just, you can tell that it's stressing out and needs to be repotted by all of the yellowing and browning that's happening. Again, yellowing leaves like this one, they are a typical part of a plant's life cycle. The old will make way for the new, especially if it does not have the pot size that it needs to grow. It will start killing off leaves real quick and making way for the new growth. And so I want to keep this guy full because it was full and it was like very upright before, again, probably a month ago, this needed to be repotted, and I saw signs of this. And I thought, oh yeah, it's time. And I didn't do anything about it. And here we are. So I am repotting this from this is like a 4-inch pot into a 6-inch or 8-inch pot right here. And I have this, let's see, it's a 1.4 quart. So couldn't tell you what that is. But I have this pot here. This is a self-watering planter that I got from a plant at Lowe's, and I figured this will be great because I can't fit a bigger pot in this setup that I have here, and I just haven't looked at Home Goods in a very long time for something similar, so we're just going to stick with what we have. The bottom portion, so the pot, actually, the cachet pot, or the plastic pot sits in this cachet pot, water fills here, and the pot starts here. So I'd actually fill it like this. I never had this plant sitting in water, and I'll show you that in a second. It never sat in water like the actual pot. It has a tie or a cord that goes down through the pot into the water that then wicks up the water into the plant. And that's what these are. These are self-watering wicking systems. And so it did come with a cord that wicked water up from the bottom, but I got rid of it quite a while ago whenever I got this plant. I don't even know what this was. Oh, this was a Monstera Stanleyana that I no longer have. But I'm just going to use this pot and transfer it in here. But if you want to make your own system, like I have here with a pretty vase and a pot on top, all you need to do is find a glass vase. I would not suggest a ceramic one. I have tried that with my anthurium, my queen anthurium. It cracked all the way down. It would not hold the water. And so I switched it over to a plastic pot. So you could do plastic or do glass. This is plastic, and so it will be great. But all you need is a cachet pot. So again, that your actual planted pot can fit into, just like this guy. He fits into the vase top perfectly. And then you need cord. So I used macrame string, and this is going to be gross, but this is the browning part. And I can also tell that it needs to be repotted because those are roots growing all along the cord. Yikes. So I will get new cord in my closet for this plant, and then you just need soil. Now I do have this in a soil mix. Typically, again, if you're going to keep Calathea, they want to stay very moist constantly, and so soil peat moss is pretty much what you're going to get there. I would not suggest putting this guy into a chunky soil mix. It will dry out far too quickly, and you will just be constantly watering it, trying to keep up with it. And that was my previous problem, was the watering and just keeping up with it. So with this self-watering planter, I water it about once a month, if I remember, or just when the water dies down. So the water usually sits at this line right here, and then once it's dry, I leave it about 2 days, and then I will refill it. Does that give it time to dry out? I don't know, but I just do it. And it seemed to be fine for the last 2 years. But this guy, again, low light situation, kind of constant watering, can be really tricky and really irritating for fungus gnats. Now, have I dealt with fungus gnats on this guy? I'm sure that I have. Have I noticed any? No. But it's possible that I just have ignored them at this rate. But all of my other plants, if you're new here, are primarily in a soilless mix, which is what I have right here. I will be putting my soilless mix in with this mix that it's currently in, primarily because that's all I have. And I know now, if you're going to do this in a self-watering system, wicking system, I think it will be fine, and I won't have to worry about watering it consistently or filling the cachet back up. I think it should be okay. So we're going to try that out. I'm going to go get my macrame string really quick. This macrame cord is what I use for this, and yes, this is macrame cord. I got this, honestly, this wasn't a big spool, and I used it to make tons of macrame hangers, and I got it in like 2019, 2020. This is still going, so I'll link it below if it's still available, because that was a really long time ago, but it's gotten its use out of it. So I'll, I guess, cut what I need from this. So when you're making your self-watering or wicking system, you need to make sure that you have enough string going from the bottom of the pot down into the water. You don't want the string just kind of sitting on top of the water. You definitely want it in the water. So what I do is I string it through the bottom of my pot like this, and then I take my cachet pot, whatever I'm using for the water, and I will just gauge like how much string I need. I don't know. So I just let it pool a little bit at the bottom, and then that's how much I need. So then I cut the other side at about the same length. I am holding it up a little bit here, and I'll just show it like that. Like, I guess comparative to this pot and this pot, like it'll be here. I know this is like the weirdest thing. It'll be here, so I probably should cut it about here. Does that make sense? I don't know. But I just put this through the top of the pot that my plant will go in, if I can get it through there. It's got old soil in here. Yeah, just spilled at the bottom. Like this. And honestly, I just let it sit there like that. I don't know. You can pull it up a little bit into the pot and make like a little bit of a loop, and then, you know, that will be great for it to be potted and planted into, just like that. So you don't really need much string at all. And then we just take our old plant, or our plant right here, and I'm going to try to do this messy, the least amount of mess as I possibly can, because I cannot find my potting mat. I don't know where it went. But I'm going to take this out, holding it over the pot, and see if I can get it nice and easy, which I can. Ooh, hold on. That was less messy than I expected it to be. I'll show you, because look at these. They're not corms. I don't know what they're called on Calathea, honestly, but these bulbs right here, if you were to take these out, you could actually propagate them by just planting them in sphagnum moss, perlite, pea moss, and letting them, you know, root, and a new plant would grow from those, which is really fun. That's the only way you can actually propagate a Calathea, or splitting it, so dividing it like you would a snake plant. Well, snake plants can also be cut up, but These guys cannot be propagated off of a single cutting. They will not root. Don't try it. You have to use one of these corms or bulbs or tubers. I don't know what they're called on the Calathea. But this looks really healthy and happy, and I see a lot of white roots. I'm not sure that I'm going to get, oh, I have a lot of string in here. Okay, well, for my other ones, I did not use this much string. So maybe I'm going to go back and use string, more string. See how much string I use? Oh, mess free. Did not happen. And it caught in my mouth. Try not to break the roots. That is another key thing about Calathea. Do not break the roots up. They don't like it. They're not happy with that. I'm actually just going to cut this string just to not make even more of a mess. They're not happy with that. They don't like that. They don't like their roots to be touched. It's the same thing with Maranta. As soon as you start like really, I got soil all down my sleeve. Okay. As soon as you start really breaking up their root system, I don't know, it just sends them into shock and they just don't like it. I have truly never had a Calathea or Maranta survive when I've done that. And so I always leave those guys, whatever soil mix they're in, I just leave them and let them be. And they seem to be more happy that way than if I were to sit there and break it up and break all the soil off of it and try to remove it. I just don't even bother now. But I am going to put some more string in there because apparently I had a lot in there. Okay, forgo the information that I once told you. We're going to create more string. I had it like, I had 4. I had it doubled up. So I'm going to double it up like this. Okay, so I have one long piece of string. I'm going to fold it in half. And then I'm going to put it like this. I doubled it up. I'm going to stick one in one side. And then one in the other side. So now I have it like this, and I am going to create or put way more string on top. So that's how much string I'm leaving in the bottom. I'm going to kind of separate it and butterfly it out, I guess, like that. There you go. And then I have a lot of cord down here. Actually, I can even pick up more cord, put it around the sides like that, but you got what I'm saying. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, we're going to do that. That way this is just, and then I'll cut this loop open. And this is where the water will wick from. Okay, we'll call that good. So now that we've got more string added, I'm going to add my plant back as I break off all the soil, like I said not to do. So this hopefully will give it a bit more room. I'm going to fill it in. Hopefully I have enough soil here. Now that's what this looks like. So there's the cord. There it's all potted. It will sit in this, and then I will fill it wherever the water thing is, right here. I will fill it probably here, and then just put it back in its normal spot, and hopefully it will adjust and continue being happy or be happier now that it's in a larger pot. So again, this is what it went from, or this is what it started at, and this was started as a 4-inch pot. Ooh. And this is what it's in, like that. And I sometimes, will be honest with you, use filtered water for this guy. So typically, if you are going to have a Calathea and it's just, you just want to care for it, you want to use filtered water because it's free of all of the stuff that's in your water system. They really do not like all the chemicals and all of that stuff. So I do use filtered water on it every so often, but sometimes it's inevitable and I just put tap water in it. But that's it. So that's my refresh of my self-watering Calathea Orbifolia. I hope you liked this video. Let me know in the comments if you have tried this yet with your Calathea or a plant that is just needing more water and you just don't have the time to deal with that. But thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe and we will see you next time.